Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. We're coming to you from the not yet snowy city of Denver. And as always, I am your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
I'm Jeff.
And we're going to talk about some board games.
Yeah. When does snow usually start?
I feel like
pretty much any moment.
Any second?
I mean,
Literally.
I feel like recently it's been sometime after Halloween.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could hit.
We've already had a frost. I've already had to wake up to a little bit of frost on my windows.
Oh,
on
really?
my car. One of my early mornings.
That happened to me a couple weeks ago, actually.
There's a reasonable chance this Wednesday. I saw that the low's like 36, so we could maybe get a little bit more frost then too.
Okay.
We're rapidly getting into winter. It's been snowing up in the mountains.
As is tradition.
All the resorts are snowmaking right now.
Like actually making snow?
Yeah, they've got big, huge snowmaking machines.
Oh, Jesus.
just vomiting snow everywhere.
Basically.
Does it have googly eyes on the snow machine?
Yeah.
God, I hope so. I'm gonna have to get my snowboard and everything all prepped up and ready to go. Condo opens up in a month, less than a month now, like 2 weeks. Holy shit! I'm getting really excited.
I don't do those things.
I don't either.
Yeah, I do. So,
La-di-da.
I just stay inside and play
Yeah.
computer games instead of physical downhill activities.
I don't know. I'm an adrenaline junkie. I
That'll happen.
snowboard. I rock climb.
Crack.
I mean, occasionally, just a little bit of blow.
Yep.
We are really never getting on the dice tower. Tom Vassell will have nothing to do with us ever.
No.
Well, that's his fault.
For having standards.
Get some fucking curses into your show, and it will be 1,000 times better.
Not everyone has a post-it note that says curse
I was
more.
going to say, Jeff.
No,
where's your
no.
Curse more post-it note.
Read it correctly.
Curse fucking more.
Curse fucking more. Yes.
Speaking of cursing more, last episode we talked about how the Broncos lost, and I was bummed, and I just got sullen, and there wasn't a lot of cursing.
Yeah.
There was a lot of cursing on Thursday.
Yeah, there was. We did.
there
missed out
It
on
was a euchre night at a local bar, and
I was not a very good
I heard
euchre
you were going to
player.
go, and I was like, oh, man, this is going to be a bummer if the Broncos don't do well. And it was not.
There's nothing good about it.
No.
But they didn't have the sound on, which was misleading. The way they made it sound, I thought the sound would be on, otherwise I would not have went. I'll be honest. I like euchre, but I like actually hearing football games way more. But then I wasn't going to get there and be like, oh, you don't have the sound? Peace, I'm out. Because then I would have felt like a real dick.
Well, at least
You already are a real dick. It's just, you would just.
Yeah, but I
You don't feel like it
I
right
don't
now.
feel like it.
At least it wasn't the Bears game.
Yeah, this
17-0 to the fourth quarter, and then losing 18-17.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The
Yeah.
Bears are in a sad state. The Carolina Panthers lost their 5th game this season.
All right. I'm just going to sleep right here. Let me know when you guys are done talking about football.
I mean, I don't
That's my only football that I
I don't
know.
think Jeff really cares about
Yeah.
football. Lions won again. Megan likes the Lions. Packers lost, so Brian was a little salty.
Okay.
But
Aren't they brother and sister?
they are.
And they don't like the same football team?
They do not.
And he doesn't like a football team that's not even from his state,
So they're from the UP of Michigan, which
is basically extra Wisconsin.
exactly. And so he went with Green Bay because they were closer, and he spent a lot of time
Literally
as a kid in Green Bay.
Closer than
Literally
where Detroit-
closer than Detroit, yes. Whereas Megan, in a admirable, if misplaced sense of stately duty, went with the Lions. It helps that she doesn't care about football, so she doesn't really care if she roots for a good team or not. But the Lions are sad team.
Football.
Anyway, Zach, you can wake up. We're going to move on.
Did anyone play any good games?
I was going to say, didn't play nearly as many games this week as I did the prior week.
Yeah.
But I still played a few.
Yeah. And most of them were just one game. So.
Yeah, we played a lot of our review game for this episode, Terraforming Mars.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that in the review.
Because we all hated it.
God awful game. I played a little bit of Hanabi. What else did I play? Oh, I played 2 games of Patchwork up in the mountains. Me and Megan took a drive up into the mountains, hit up a bunch of mountain breweries, did like 2-3 breweries a day, and camped up in the mountains in between. It was a nice little trip. Got to go to some breweries I'd never been to before, had some good beer, played a couple board games. Nice time.
Mountains.
Yeah, some more of that outdoor stuff that you don't do.
I see them from a distance when the clouds from fire don't obscure them.
If you want to see it closer, there's binoculars and telescopes and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's good enough.
You can go up in that little sky tower at Elitch Gardens, get a nice
Exactly.
high up view of them.
Yeah, still far.
Still far. Denver's not in the mountains, for those of you that don't know that. I think a lot of people seem to assume we're a mountain town. We're totally not.
We're in the high plains.
Yep. But
That sounds accurate.
Yeah.
Zach, did you play any games other than our review game?
So my copy of Joking Hazard,
Yeah.
that was the name, came in last week, and so I got to play it on Wednesday.
Okay.
And for people who don't know, that's basically, it's like Cards Against Humanity, but by the people that did the comic Cyanide and Happiness. So it's with pictures. And played that, and it was fine. It fits the same itch.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Not quite as overtly vulgar.
Yeah.
Definitely
there's
still
a lot,
has,
there's a
still
lot of
vulgar.
boners. In that.
There's a lot of boners.
A lot of boners and
A lot
people,
of asses.
a lot of people pissing on each other,
Yeah.
Keeping it classy.
But it doesn't toe the line with like awkward racism and sexism.
No, it doesn't have Pac-Man just uncontrollably, guzzling.
Yeah. That card. Amongst other things.
I have enjoyed watching and reading the cards from Joking Hazard more than I do with Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah.
It feels like there's more combinations of just weird, funny stuff you can do.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them, there's not words on a lot of them. They're just sort of funny pictures.
And there's a good ones, or there's a good amount of them where it's actually a series of 3. So, like, you'll have one guy with, like, one boner, and then the other guy has another boner, and then they both have both boners and stuff like that. Like, it has some sort of, or, like, one is peeing
There
on
are
his split,
sets.
and then peeing on his chest and, like, peeing in his mouth. I don't know. Yeah, there's sets. There's something like that.
Sets
so.
that sort of go together.
Yes.
But you can sort of put them.
Yeah, and
However you
it can
want.
be, it could be a little or hampering. That's the better word. Just because it has to be a 3-panel comic, whereas you're just like with Cards Against Humanity, it's just a question and then an answer, so to speak. This one, like you have the first 2 panels already out there, so that third one might be like to try and it might be harder to make it have more sense, basically. So
I have found it very funny.
yeah, no, I was fun.
It's fun.
So
It's a fun game.
I had fun playing around with it when you had it over here, like just making nonsense stuff with
Yeah.
it. I don't think it's a game I'd want to play.
That's
I
fun,
think
yeah.
that for me,
Like
Cards
most-
Against Humanity completely burned out that type of game for
Right.
me. And so just, nah.
No, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Came with a lot of cards at least, which is good.
Did come with a whole lot of cards. And if you like the Cyanide and Happiness comics, it's the same art style.
Yep.
So it's pretty cool.
They have some
in
funny
that regard.
animations.
I do like their comic.
Yeah, their comics are great.
They have some animated ones that are also hilarious.
They are, yes.
But I haven't seen a new one in a
I don't
very,
think I've
very,
seen their
very long time.
animated ones.
You should. They're pretty funny.
Huh. I'll have to check them out.
Pretty funny.
Cool. Anything else, Jeff? You wrapped up something big.
did not. I sort of dropped off at game night so you guys could play our review game of Terraforming Mars. And then I went off and finished Pandemic Legacy Season 1 to completion.
To completion.
We were
Thoroughly.
in November. So we finished November and December and finished
Spoilers. Don't.
the game.
Yeah, there you go.
The game is now finished.
Game is now finished.
Because, as Adrian was talking about skiing earlier, Ant, one of our guys in our Pandemic Legacy game, will be doing nothing but skiing 4 days a week for the next 4 months.
Yep.
Yeah, he runs the ski condo I'm in on, and he's up there almost every single time I've ever been up there. He's already up there. So
Yeah, so we needed to make sure we got that fucking in.
Yes.
he
that makes
skis
sense.
all day and then plays Blood Bowl on his computer all night. It's pretty hilarious. He'll play like 4 games of Blood Bowl at once. It's fantastic.
Wow.
We're also
And
gonna
how many of
try-
those would he win? Probably.
50-50.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
Yeah, I don't know. Depends on your team.
Yeah. We're also going to do a D&D campaign while we're up there.
Oh, that's cool.
Just a real light on the role play, real heavy on the smash.
Dungeon Smash.
Yep. And it's going to be ice cave themed because we're going to be playing in the winter. So everybody who's in on the condo
How-
is required as part of the condo initiation to roll up a character. And Ant's just going to randomly GM for whoever's up there on any given night, doing some little dungeon crawl, rotate in and out, in characters in and out, and just going with it. Then we have a bunch of board games we keep up there too that we play. We got a nice big table at the condo this year, which would be good. We didn't have a good table last year. It sucked.
That sounds like it is worse previous years
Yes.
than this year, which is better.
God damn it. All right. I'll stop talking about it. Clearly don't share my level of enthusiasm. I'm going to bring Ant back on the show.
Well, it's just we have no context for it, so
Yeah, I know.
and
Well,
I can't be happy for you. So
All I look forward to is you putting on a GoPro and immediately biting it.
yes, yeah, I'm always fine for seeing those.
You're going to get to see a lot of that because my goal for this season is to land a front flip.
I'm excited.
So you're going to see a lot of GoPro of me just eating shit real hard.
Is there any way you can just stream that GoPro directly to my computer so I can just always watch it?
No, but I can upload all the videos. So you just watch the entire video. Thankfully, I don't fall getting on and off lifts anymore.
Just had to throw the anymore on there. Huh?
Yep.
Hey, everybody starts there, especially snowboarders. It's easier for skiers. But
Pandemic Legacy is finished.
yes,
And then we will have a part 2 of our Pandemic Legacy podcast whenever you people get done with yours.
which we've only got November and December left.
Yes.
also.
Exact same amount.
So hopefully in a couple weeks.
Probably one more session
Yes.
left in you,
Yep.
and then it's over.
That's the goal.
And then we can compare and contrast
Ding,
Yep.
ding, ding.
all the fun stuff.
Make a Venn diagram too. With
Yes.
this. It'll be crazy.
Very, very exciting. I've got opinions on that game that I will not spoil,
Yeah.
but it's a game.
You finished up just in
Spoilers,
time.
Jesus Christ.
Moving on out because we haven't really played a lot of games, and otherwise I'm going to end up talking about football or snowboarding.
Well, I have one other thing.
Sorry.
As the Bloody Minute continues,
Oh,
Did you start?
we are about to start season 3 of Blood Bowl. We're getting all the games lined up, and I think I'll be having my next game in the next week or so. They have also finally launched the new edition's website and have kind of shown off all the complete board and components.
Okay.
The coolest thing about the website, they have actual training drill scenarios you can do in the game to learn the game.
That's cool.
And they're shaped as actual like football training.
Nice.
Which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
It's like, here's a scenario, throw the ball around, see how the dice work, see how the ranges work, and then like if you get the ball passed like 7 times because you're taking a guy off every time you pass the ball, you can get a different score. And so you're sort of just playing against the score, which I thought was super interesting.
huh.
That's
Cool.
good.
Yeah, Bloody Minute concluded in about a minute.
There you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so stay tuned for the return of that as a regular segment where Jeff discusses getting utterly curb stomped week in and week out.
The Reichland Raiders are
Reichland Renegades.
renegades. Well,
Will continue their probably losing streak.
at least you've got a streak going, right?
I think I have one of the most veteran teams in the league because they are such low value that I don't have to retire them to start a new team. I don't have to worry about spiraling expenses yet.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Well, maybe you'll do better this year because you'll be all veterans. They're
we'll
the
see.
tough renegade team.
We'll see about that.
All right. Well, so I think that covers pretty much everything. Like I
Yep.
said, unless you want to hear me talk about snowboarding or
No, oh God, no.
So we can move on a little bit to our news section.
Sure isn't a ton,
No.
but Essen was last week.
Yes, just wrapped up over the weekend. Some people I don't think are even back in the States from their Essen trips.
Probably not.
There are some people that are probably just also
was flying
staying in
back.
Germany.
Well, yes. No, nobody stays in Germany. That's nonsense.
It's a silly place. There was a lot of
Trying to be
Twitter
conscious.
chat about flights out. I saw so many pictures of someone sitting in an airplane seat from the different publisher websites. Like, look at me, I'm going to Essen. Look at me, I'm going to Essen.
Yep.
And soon I will be doing the same thing.
If not next year, then the following year for sure for me.
Yeah. Or from a vehicle driving to Gen Con.
Well, that for sure is happening.
Yeah.
again.
For show.
But some interesting things did come out of Essen that we didn't even know about to cover in last week's episode where we kind of did a little pre-Essen thing. One of the things that surprised me, I didn't know it was anywhere even remotely on the radar. They released images of the board for Pandemic Legacy Season 2.
And the boxes, too.
And the boxes.
I think they just announced its existence there,
Well,
right?
I mean,
Right.
I guess like officially announcing, but saying Season 1.
Kind of
people
hinted there'd be
yes,
Season 2.
Yeah.
Unless it bombed. They didn't
Yeah.
know it was going to be that popular, guys.
Yeah.
Sure.
The boxes are red and blue again,
Yep.
but they look very post-apocalyptic,
Yes.
very sort of future-y.
Yep.
Also a heavy water theme
Yes.
on the boxes.
Now remember that this is standalone. So, the stuff that we played in the first one doesn't directly affect what's going to happen in this one.
Yeah.
So
can
no, I
only
know.
assume.
I'm just letting other people know, too.
Well, so I'm curious, if this is going to be like the XCOM, the remake of the XCOM game series. So the first XCOM, Enemy Unknown, came out a little while back, and Firaxis, who made it,
How did you pronounce that again?
Firaxis, whatever. Anyway, they knew from their telemetry stuff that the vast majority of players lost their first playthrough. So they went ahead and made that the basis for the sequel. So the second one doesn't pick up with, hey, you won. It picks up with, hey, you fucking lost and the aliens took over. Now you're fighting an insurgency, which is an awesome way to play that game, and it made for an awesome sequel.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious if that's kind of where they're going with this season 2, if it's tangentially related. Like, it won't necessarily follow your specific season 1 game, but if it'll follow some vague master season 1 canon.
Maybe,
you know?
yeah.
They have also shown a board, which seems to be naval-based. You are in the water. There are areas you can go to in the water, and then you are scouting coasts.
Yeah, so it's pretty clearly the Atlantic Ocean. Like, you can look at it and you can see North America, South America, Africa, and Europe. The vague outline of the coasts. And yeah, there's like 2 spots in the water. So I'm assuming you're on like some kind of a floating research station or safe haven or something, and viruses have ravaged the land.
Maybe, yeah.
And there is, you can see on the picture in the top corner, something that says something like 76 years.
71, I think.
71 years after the fall.
Yeah, so we'll see.
So it definitely is kind of a post-apocalypse take on it. Which,
Yep.
if, you know...
From what I've heard, this one is supposed to be a lot more ambitious than
Okay.
Pandemic Legacy.
Which,
so
It's a completely different looking game.
well, not just that, yes, but I think I'm not going to say they were trying to play it a little safe or anything like that with Pandemic Legacy, but it seems like they're definitely trying to like push the pandemic part.
Well, I think people have reacted very positively from Risk Legacy, which was Risk with just a couple legacy mechanics, to Pandemic Legacy, which was Pandemic with more legacy mechanics. And then people went nuts for Seafall, roughly. I mean, it got a lot of hype. You know,
Hype,
it
yes.
may
Hype,
not be
yes.
living up to it. We'll see. We'll be starting our playthrough of that soon-ish. But, yeah, I feel like each iteration of Legacy is going to somehow push legacy mechanics a little bit further.
I keep seeing people are like, man, is this trend of legacy games going to continue? Or they're like so many, and it's like there's 3 fucking legacy games, and they've been released in the past 4 years, I believe.
When did Risk come out?
I think it was 2012 or 2013, somewhere around there.
It was a little while ago.
Yeah. So those are the only legacy games, mainly because of the legacy system. And also, a lot of people seem to confuse legacy with campaign-driven stuff. So
Yes.
Yeah.
they're like, this has legacy mechanics. It's like, no, it has a campaign. But it doesn't have, you're not making permanent alterations to it. So, anyway.
I'm excited.
Yes, I am
It's
too.
going to be it's not going to play like Pandemic.
I mean, we don't know.
I think judging by the board, like, it still definitely had an outbreak track on the edge of the board.
Yeah.
It had an infection track at the top. It had the
It might be an
infection
evolution of
cards
it.
and the player cards. So it's going to have a lot of the same mechanics.
But
I
it's
think.
not just Pandemic.
No, exactly. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Risk Legacy came out in 2011 for the record.
So 5 years. There's been 3. Pretty crazy.
And one definitely really good one.
Yes.
I haven't finished Risk and haven't played Seafall. So
Yeah.
Yeah, Risk, like I said, it's mostly Risk with just a little bit of Legacy.
I mean,
feel like
they'll add more.
Pandemic
It
Legacy
adds
has
more stuff later on. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
gets nuts with it.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Why not, indeed?
Other stuff from Essen, we got to see what Feast for Odin actually looks like.
Well, I'd seen that prior. I'd watched a video of the gameplay before Essen. That's how I knew how bad I wanted it. It's huge. It's
huge.
fantastic.
I saw one tweet that was basically, so that's what the kitchen sink looks like.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that one.
Holy shit, yeah.
I don't know why you haven't ordered it already.
Because
you
it's not
can't.
available.
Hey, you know what? I ordered my game. Jeff ordered his game, so it's just.
What game did you
I
order,
will-
Jeff?
Terraforming Mars.
Yeah, Terraforming Mars.
And Cry Havoc.
And Cry Havoc, yeah. I got Mexit versus Minions. I'm just saying.
I got Seafall. Yeah.
But that's not an Essen game.
Shut up.
I helped you buy it.
Also, yeah, he did help you buy it.
I will probably be buying Feast for Odin, even if you are also buying Feast for Odin. So,
Yeah, no doubt.
as much as I like Caverna, and this seems to just be like more of that kind of game with the kitchen sink, obviously.
Yep. So, yeah.
They showed off Pandemic Iberia.
That's a pretty board. Oh, man, is that a pretty board?
Yeah, it looks good.
It was like
It looks like
1800s
a giant,
Spain.
Yeah, it looks like a giant map and it just looks really pretty.
It's going to be like a limited edition, small print, maybe.
So I saw someone say 55,000, but I don't know. We'll see.
Different mechanics.
Yep.
You're not going to be able to actually cure the diseases at all. You're just
There's
sort
no
of
medic too.
You're just sort of triaging, and then you can travel by sea. You can build railroads. Seems like there's a lot of stuff in there.
Clean
that can
water
make it.
seems to play a part in this.
Right.
So
Yeah. I think I'll probably also get that one,
I might get that one too.
and then I'll have Cthulhu, Iberia, Legacy, and regular Pandemic.
With all the expansions,
I don't have all the expansions.
do you have the cure?
I don't have the dice rolling game.
And the experimental meds is
No.
what was supposed to come out in Essen too. So I want to pick that up soon.
I had the first edition and the first edition's expansion, and then I bought the second edition and then didn't get any more expansions
Gotcha.
because I was like, so I actually own Pandemic twice. One with old art, one with new art.
Ridiculous.
One with wood cubes, one with plastic cubes.
Yeah, it was wood cubes, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
I forgot that.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even know that.
Now you know.
The more you know.
Yep.
The hot game at Essen, though, from things I've been reading, was Terraforming Mars.
Yeah.
I want to say that was at the top of most everyone's list there.
It's certainly been all over the hotness on BGG.
Yep. And the network sold out in Essen too in
Yes,
the first day, which is good.
yeah.
Good for Gil.
Didn't they say like 45 minutes or something like that?
Something like that.
Which, I mean, it
It was
sold
like
out.
700 copies or something,
Yeah.
I think. So
It sold out Gen Con, but
First
I think
day.
was it first
Yeah.
day? So yeah, he's got a great game on his hands.
Yes,
You know,
he
we
does.
reviewed it last week, and we all really like it. So hopefully there will be another print run real soon, and you'll be able to get your hands on it. So I mean, that about covers what we've got for news, I think.
So I had one more real
Yeah?
quick. It
Go for
actually
it.
relates. It's a Kickstarter, but it also relates to Essen.
Okay.
So it's called Steal This Game.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about
Yes.
this.
Saw a picture of
Yes.
that.
So basically, this company, Ludicreations, this small indie board game company, they were at Essen, and I think they like their cash box had like $3,500 in it or something from all these things they sold, and they went to go check on something for like 5 seconds, and when they came back, that cash box was gone, and apparently like there was a rash of professional. They said it was like professional thieves and something like that. So stealing,
Bummer.
yeah, and so since they're an indie one, that is a huge loss to them.
Right.
And so basically what they did is over a day, they came up with this new nano game called Steal This Game. And it's basically to help them recoup some of these losses.
Uh-huh.
And to, I mean, it's still a game. It's made by somebody who actually makes games. So it's not
Garbage.
Yeah, it's supposed to be on the size of a postcard or something. It's like $5 too.
Huh.
But it's already made $12,000.
All right.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Sometimes getting your cash box stolen works out for you.
Yeah.
Sympathy votes.
Sorry, $18,000.
Well, there you
Oh,
go.
only
Yeah.
18,000.
Yes.
Only 18.
Okay.
With 13 days, which yeah, if it
I mean,
sounds
for $5,
interesting,
I
yeah,
might throw money
Yeah,
at
if
it.
it sounds interesting,
I've already got
Definitely
$1 game that I'm backing that's supposed to be shipping, I don't know, sometime soon. It's like 2 cards. It can't take that
Yeah.
long to put it together and ship. But what do I know? I don't do Kickstarters. Like, run them. But
What do you know?
enough to have a podcast.
Yeah.
so nothing. You don't know nothing.
So, all right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up news and stuff, too. Yeah?
Sure.
Anything else you guys want to throw on there? Any other Kickstarters you're watching? I've kind of backed off the Kickstarter train. Money's getting tight with ski season approaching.
It's an extra $200 a month you can't blow on board games.
Yeah.
It is. So I stock up during the long, warm months for the coming winter.
Nice.
So,
Yep.
all right, well, let's move on to our featured review for today. We're going to be covering Terraforming Mars. It's the new game from designer Jacob Frexelius. Something like
Almost.
that.
Almost there.
Yeah.
Almost there.
I'm
Does
assuming.
anybody actually know how to say it?
No, but I'm just assuming you're saying it wrong because it's you.
That's fine. I'm sure somebody will let us know. It is published by Frix Games and Stronghold Games here in the United States. Looks like the artists are Daniel Frixelius and Isaac Frixelius, which I guess maybe all siblings or family members.
I
Assuming.
highly doubt it.
But I think that's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
I mean, it's a really common last name.
Yeah.
So.
Sure.
Anyone
Anyway,
can have that.
moving on. It plays 1 to 5 players and takes 90 to 120 minutes. And normally we would have Zach do the rules. However, he's been recovering from a little bit of a cold here. So, Jeff, do you want to give us a quick rundown of what Terraforming Mars is?
Absolutely. The game begins in the 2170s. The United Earth government has decided to heavily fund any corporation that invests in the terraforming of the planet Mars. Different corporations are working to make Mars habitable. At the beginning of the game, each player has a hand of project cards they can purchase to create their starting hand, and then a choice of 2 corporations to play as, each with unique benefits. Each turn, deal out 4 new cards, which can be bought into your hand. You have a selection of actions you can take each turn, playing a project card from your hand, which can be various events and additional actions, use a standard project from the board, using your resources to play greenery or raise temperatures, pay for bonus milestones or awards for the endgame scoring. Play will then proceed until each person has passed. There's then a production phase where you get your various resources for each generation. Then past the first player token to the left. Play continues until oxygen has hit 14%. Temperature is at 8 degrees Celsius, and all 9 ocean tiles have been placed. You will finish out the round, then the game will end. Endgame scoring, add points for milestones, awards, points from cards played, and then tiles claimed on the board to get a final terraforming rating. Highest rating wins.
All right, so that's Terraforming Mars. Like we talked about, we played this game a lot over the last week and a half, 2 weeks that we've got it. 1, we really liked it, and 2, we wanted to try and cover
all the different ways,
much of the different ways to play it as we could, so we could give a thorough and comprehensive review.
I am very glad we got the base game and all of the heavy air quotes optional rules, because those optional rules are mandatory to enjoy this game.
Yep.
If you like heavier games,
some of them are not even optional.
No, I would definitely agree. So, how it normally plays is if it's your first time, you have the beginner corp, and that's mainly there because you don't know what you need. You don't know what cards. So you get 10 cards and you get them all for free.
Yep. You don't have to purchase them.
Exactly. Whereas when you have the actual named corps, then you actually have to purchase from those 10 cards what ones that you want.
Which are 3 mega credits.
Mega credits, yes.
3 mega credits each.
Yep.
I love the word mega credit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that some of the things, though, like drafting your cards in between rounds, like at the start of each round, when you draw cards, instead of just drawing 4 cards and getting stuck with whatever random shit you draw, drafting is pretty much a mandatory. You need to, drafting added so much to the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only time I wouldn't do drafting is maybe if I was teaching the game to 3 completely new people, and if people I knew to have AP tendencies, because it definitely increases the length of the game.
Yeah.
Most of these variant and things that are added to it increase the length of the game. So that 90 to 120 minutes, I would say, is if you're playing with new people, then it's just beginner corps with no drafting. If you're playing with people who have played before, advanced corps and with drafting, but not the corporate era cards.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every game we played, I played 4 games, I think, and all of them were right around the 3-hour mark.
Yeah,
some of them were just
90 minutes to
yes,
20.
Yes,
so, yeah.
But all of them were, though.
Okay,
it wasn't like we were never anywhere near 120, but it wasn't like adding those things greatly extended the length either. They made it a little longer, but it was all right around 3 hours. So I think I would if I was to teach the game to new people, I'd teach them drafting. If they don't know drafting, they're going to learn drafting. But I'm not going to be playing Terraforming Mars with 3 people who don't know what drafting is.
You don't know?
Yeah, I do, because otherwise I wouldn't be teaching them Terraforming Mars. I'd be teaching them some other game.
You don't know. You could be on a desert island and it's the only game to play, and they're like, "Oh, is this like Monopoly?" So there could be a situation. You're stuck in a cabin.
On a desert island, do they still have Monopoly?
Yes.
So no, I if I'm teaching it, it's drafting all the way. I thought that made such a huge difference.
It did. I would agree.
So we should say there are 2 sets of cards in this game.
Mm-hmm.
There are the basic project cards, which have to do with the actual terraforming of Mars that let you increase your different resources and get the temperature and oxygen and stuff up. Then there are corporate era cards that are much more resource driven and money driven.
It's more about building your engine than it is about actually terraforming Mars and going towards the completion of the goal of the game.
Yes.
Right. Which the big difference there is if you play with the Corp Era cards, your resource production for everything starts at 0, versus starting at 1 in the game without corporate era cards.
Yes.
So you need those extra cards to build that engine because you don't start with even a semblance of one. You've got to go from scratch, which I personally like better. I felt like I got to do more over the course of a game that way. But, you know, I didn't really, like I said before, all the games I played were right around 3 hours. They didn't add that much
I
to the game
feel like our 4-player game that had drafting and the advanced corporations, but not the corporate ones, took 2 hours and 45 minutes. And the one we played with the corporate era took 3 hours and 30 minutes. So that's 45. All I'm saying is that it did add about 45 minutes to the game.
And it wasn't noticeable to me.
It was noticeable to me.
Yeah, it was also not noticeable.
We talked about that in the text, though. That was because the way you ended up, you ended up having, you
possibly that is true. Like I said, this is possible. I like, as of right now, I liked it without the corporate era ones more, but it might be because of the corporation I was playing, and so I'm definitely gonna give that another shot.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we can go back to the very first playthrough of it. We're halfway through the game. I was ready to throw this in the garbage.
That's you in a lot of games.
That is not
throw
me
my
in a
copy
lot
of the game in the garbage.
Yeah.
No, but I was not impressed. You know, with the initial game, and even something as little as adding in the draft.
Like, I definitely agree. Drafting makes it a better game.
Yeah,
I never said it didn't.
Well, no, but I'm saying, so for you, you've only played it that way once. You should definitely play it that way some more, because I think it was entirely your corporation and the fact that you did like 2, maybe 3 actions and then passed, while the rest of us were doing 4, 5, or 6 actions.
No, I know. I'm just saying that because the corporate era ones add a lot more of engine building, it makes it a longer game. And if you don't have as much of an engine as other people, then you can definitely feel the downtime.
I think you just didn't like it as much because I won.
No, I don't.
Did you win?
Yeah, he won. He won by 2 points.
3.
3? Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Which I thought it was 2 too, but I was talking to Megan.
That's like
today,
saying I
and she
didn't
was
like networks because you beat me. No, I still love the networks.
I have lost all 3 games in dead last of Terraforming Mars.
Didn't we tie for? No, that's right.
We didn't.
Oh, damn.
We almost did, and then you went up like another 20 points.
Oh, poor Jeff.
Yeah.
The losing streak continues.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
You're having a real rough go of it lately.
The only game I won was a cooperative one, which was Pandemic Legacy.
Spoilers. Jesus Christ.
So one thing we should mention, it is a very thematic game.
Terraforming Mars?
Mechanically thematic.
Yes.
You are trying to raise the temperature. You are trying to raise oxygen levels, and you are trying to place ocean tiles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which all of these are actual scientific values of actually terraforming Mars.
Yes.
You can place... You place all 9 ocean tiles. That represents 9% of Martian surface water, which can sustain hydrological cycles.
Yeah.
Oxygen up to 14% equates to a breathable atmosphere of 3,000 meters in altitude, which there are cities on Earth with over 1 million people at that same oxygen level. And then mean temperature, which starts at -30, and you have to get to 8 degrees Celsius, which around the equator allows for liquid water.
Look, yeah. Well, and then not just liquid water, but like plants and stuff to actually be able
Survive.
to thrive and survive and thrive.
And the game's project cards only allow you to play certain ones at these certain milestones.
Yes.
So you're not putting livestock at -30 degrees Celsius and 0% oxygen.
No.
You have to have, that's a pretty late game card.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things I really liked about the game is you can only play certain things at certain times. But the first turn of the first game we played, the first card was place an ocean tile because a ship of water from Earth had arrived. But thematically, I looked it up, and it's supposed to be like those oceans are frozen.
No,
most of the year,
that's what I always figured.
which makes a lot more sense than it just being liquid water at nothing.
Yes.
Right. So, no, I do agree with you. That is one thing I really like about this game, especially after repeated plays. The mechanics and the theme are very well tied together. This isn't a pasted-on theme.
No.
Like,
it would be really hard to make this about something else without a lot of work.
You could change maybe what planet you're terraforming and use a lot of the same mechanics, but I mean, that's about it.
There was 2 things I also read that they purposefully glossed over, which was air pressure
Yeah.
and magnetic field.
Yeah.
because there's a very weak magnetic field and air pressure they thought would have added too many more mechanics to it.
That makes sense, yeah.
But they do have cards that involve those things.
Yes.
Because there are cards that are like a superconducting coil around the whole planet.
To generate a magnetic field. Yeah, and you can use that. I think that one lets you turn your energy into money or something.
I don't know.
I can't remember. There's a ton of cards that do a ton of different
unique
things.
Cards. Too.
Every card
is unique. Yes,
which is another fantastic thing. So
it is.
So let's I guess start. We've kind of in our previous reviews broken things down a little bit by section here. So let's start off with just overall components for this game. I think they're fantastic.
Parts of them are great. The only thing I don't like is the player board.
The player board.
I understand they did it that way because to save cost.
Yeah.
But it sucks because you can see that.
Coming right on the heels of playing Scythe with its nice double thick player boards that have like the slots for the little cubes so that they don't bounce around and get shuffled. These ones where like if you look at it wrong, your things are sliding around.
Yeah. Very similar
it's a
to
little frustrating.
Eclipse.
Yes.
Which I have not played, but you have referenced.
Oh yeah.
It is. It's very similar in
lots
the
of cubes in a line that if you barely bump it, you're like, oh shit, where were these?
Yeah.
What am I sitting at?
I wasn't a big fan of the components. Like they're cubes.
So I originally was sort of meh on the cubes because they just stand for resources and where they go on the board signifies, or on your player sheet signifies what they are. But playing with it more, there's so many different things they can be that I think it actually works out well.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to have so many more different types of components, and some games you're going to have a lot more titanium or money, and then other games you'll have a whole lot of plants, and it would be hard for the game to reasonably have an amount.
It would need a Caverna level of individual.
It would need even more than
resources.
I would say.
I don't mind that they use the same resource in just like 1, 5, 10s.
Yes.
I just mind the actual component quality.
Okay.
Like they're like the bronze paint is starting to chip on some of the pieces already after like 4 plays.
I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, on a couple of them I've seen that.
I've seen that too.
I could see some better quality stuff like that. I've already looked into like clear acrylic plastic boards to put onto the player board to lock everything in place, but buying 5 of those is like $45. That's
a lot.
So aside from the player aid side of things, the
board looks great.
Board itself, I think, looks really good. I like the way Mars is laid out. I like all the little hexes for greenery, cities, unique tiles, and water. I think those are good quality cardboard.
They're abstracted enough, but they still draw your eye because it's, greeneries are really green, oceans are blue, cities are gray, except for the capital city that's white, and then all the special ones are various parts of brown. Yeah, so it's really easy to see what they are.
And I feel like it lends to the idea of, as you're terraforming, the planet goes from being this big red ball in the center of the board to being covered in color.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty cool. It really
I agree with that.
Helps bring that theme to the forefront with relatively simple mechanic. So,
and I like seeing the the oxygen tile, that it's slowly moving up, and the temperature slowly moving up, and then the ocean tiles are slowly shrinking down. And it gives you it really easily you can glance and see, oh shit, the game's getting close to done, or this is only the first couple turns and stuff like that.
Overall, I think the card quality is pretty good. I haven't noticed any issues with the cards.
I've heard people talk about like the art is pretty inconsistent because they actually use real art versus real NASA photos. So there's photoreal stuff, and then there's stuff that's clearly drawn artist-wise.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
It was nothing that stood out to me.
People had just said it was inconsistent.
I mean,
it's for some people that's like a huge thing.
Yes.
It's not for me. I didn't notice it.
You can always tell which ones are from NASA because they say NASA.
Yes.
Credits. That's true.
So overall, rules. I think
it's easy enough to teach.
Real easy to teach and explain. It's kind of a deeper game. Right? Well, not kind of. There's a lot of depth to this game, but it's one that it's fairly easy to explain well enough that a new person can come in and not only play well, but actually even have a good chance of winning on their first playthrough.
Right.
When we played game night, somebody brand new who had never played one, and then when we played last night, Megan had never played at all, and she came in and was only 3 points from winning, and that was playing with all the core bearer cards and all the additional stuff.
Yes.
And so it didn't hamper her at all. So I think it's a easy game to teach people. By the end of your first full round, I think you pretty much have a grasp of what's going on.
Yeah.
When we very first played it, we got through one round and we're like, oh yeah, I know how to play this game.
Yeah.
And so the only problem is, with all the unique cards, when you draft, you owe it, like, especially with newer people and stuff that haven't played, they're like, oh, okay, well, I need to see what this card does, and then I need to see what this card does. And then, so because it's all unique, every time they get cards,
Yeah.
they have to be like, okay, well, I have to figure out what this does. Okay, now I understand.
I feel like that's fairly true with a lot of games that have just a bunch of cards. Like, that's just a part of having.
Well, I know.
that kind of
I
game.
understand. I'm just saying that at least, like, having all unique cards, that's definitely going to happen. So that's all I'm saying. For rules-wise is that because each card does a different thing.
Yeah.
And
And a
each
lot of
was-
them break.
Yeah, some of them will
base
break.
rules.
Yeah, breaks specific rules and stuff like that. So newer people that have never played it, they look at a card and like, okay, so this was this temperature, and so it can definitely slow down the game. But yeah,
It could slow it down a bit, but I don't think too drastic. Not drastically in my experience.
Knowing the cards helps a
Helps.
lot.
Oh,
Yes.
Because there's certain strategies you can do. Like the capital city gets more points if it's on more water. And then there's a certain card that you can add a water tile to any tile that would not normally have water. And so you can wrap everything around there.
although it's not the worst because literally it's getting you the same amount of points as if you just wrapped it around in greeneries. So
I think there's a lot of cards in there that we could see, especially when we were playing with the Corp Era last night. There was one point, Jeff, where you played a card that let you spend 7 money to gain 1 steel resource.
steel production.
Steel production, yeah.
Yes.
And then I had a card that let you spend 1 steel resource to get 7 money. And Jeff and I were talking about how that would be a really powerful combo to have.
Too bad I didn't get it.
No,
Yep.
because I was not giving up that card. But
Yep.
there's a lot of other examples like that, 2 or 3 cards that work really well together and synergize nicely. And when you end up with a couple of those in your hand and you're like, oh yeah, this is going to work out real well. It's a great feeling, having your plan kind of come together.
And then also when you get hate drafted to where you can't get anything
Yes.
going, and you're like, oh, this sucks. And it's happened twice, and both times the people were playing the same corporation. So
Yeah. So
I sometimes didn't have the option to hate draft you because I had too many cards that
Yes.
you could have used.
no, yeah.
But yes, all of this kind of falls under gameplay, which I think really is where this game stands out. Like the gameplay is
Yes,
fantastic.
I agree with that.
I enjoy the turn marker. It is not just 1 turn, 2 turn, 3 turn. It is how many generations you have spent trying to terraform Mars.
Which technically, if you're not playing drafting, it means nothing in the game. So basically, if you're playing solo, it's actually timer because once you get to 14 generations, that ends it. But when you're playing with drafting, then it's every even generation you go clockwise, and every odd generation you go counterclockwise. So it's just it's an easier way to do that.
Which is very important because
Yes.
we played without any alternating drafting.
Yes.
And I got wrecked.
yes,
Yeah, and that was Jeff's worst loss.
yeah, playing
we
that same
played.
corporation that I was playing. So that's going to be a corporation.
got
That if I see anybody playing, I'm like, you could probably play a different one than that. That's not that good.
Yeah, I think the times when it's good are going to be real niche cases
Yeah.
for that
It's-
particular
it-
corporation.
It would be better if it wasn't. I think if it wasn't the corporate era, that one might be all right. But because so much of it is built around engine building, and that corporation, which was Phobo Log, right?
Phobo log.
Yeah, not.
But we weren't playing Corp Era cards.
no,
when
I know.
Jeff got wrecked
Well,
with
that's
either.
because I was filtering all
Yeah.
the space stuff from him, basically.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying
I
is
wasn't
that
drawing any space stuff.
Yes, is that there? I don't think any additional space events got added from the corporate era.
I don't know. I'd have to go through the deck,
A lot more Jovian.
Yeah,
things,
Jovian stuff,
which
but I
are
don't think.
almost all space tags.
Well, I know, but space tags, but not events. So
yeah. Overall, we've played it with 3 and 4 players. I think it's good with both.
it's good with both. I think with 4 players, it allowed us to shuffle the deck and draw cards that we originally got rid of.
Yes,
And
Because they were too late game for us to care about.
especially in that
time.
initial 10 cards.
Yes.
You'll pass on a couple things that have real high temperature or oxygen requirements because they're going to sit in your hand for 6 turns and just waste space.
so I think playing with 3 players, we might add it to where it's like 5 cards. You're drafting instead of 4, and then you get rid of 1, so it'll actually burn through the deck a little bit faster.
Yeah, which I think that's a pretty solid change.
Which we need to try to see if
Yes.
it actually works well. You just don't want to give people too many cards because you don't want to, so I remember an analogy you were saying was that when you just had the random draws, you averaged about 2 out of 4 cards were decent for you.
Yeah.
Whereas with drafting, you could probably make it 3 out of 4. So if you get too many cards, so if you're like, oh, let's take 10 cards, draft them, and then get rid of 6, then everyone's going to have 4 out of 4 cards will be useful. And I think adding too many cards for that would allow some people to have too many perfect hands, and I think that would not make the game as good.
Yeah, I mean, I think yes. If you take it to the extreme of drafting from a hand of 10 cards.
Well, no, I know. I'm just saying
it's going to fall apart. But even then, like, I would almost want to do that just once to see how it'd be if every corporation was able to build.
Oh god, that's also going to take forever.
I don't think it would take that much longer. If you played with 4 people who knew it, it might take a little longer because you're picking from more cards.
There's the chances of 2 of those cards being perfect for you, and I know how you think, Adrian. Of every time you see 2 cards that are perfect, you're like, oh god, well if I do this one, I can do this, this, and this. I do this one. So I'm just saying.
I still want to do it now. Now that you mentioned it, that was not even on my radar until right now. Now I want to do that.
So, gameplay-wise,
yes.
You have 6 total resources: money, steel, titanium, plants, energy, and heat.
Yes.
Steel is used as 2 currency for buildings. Titanium is used as 3 currency for
space events.
And
space cards, basically.
Anything with
cards.
a space tag.
Yep.
Plants, you can spend 8 and add a greenery tile to the board. Energy is used for a lot of extra project cards that use actions.
Yeah.
Like I could spend 4 energy and get 2 steel and raise the oxygen up because the steel is oxidizing and creating oxygen. And then heat is you just spend heat and it gets warmer.
Yeah. You have a lot of heat generating, you just release it into the air, and it's like, ooh, it's getting.
I also think it's cool. Unused energy transfers over to heat at the end of each round.
Yeah.
So you can't load up, you can't store energy. It always just turns into heat.
Yeah, and
They don't have batteries on Mars.
Nope.
I'm sure there's a card that lets you keep a certain amount of energy in your energy pool somewhere in those cards. No?
I think we would have seen it. Somebody would have talked about it.
Yeah, maybe. There's a lot of cards.
Yeah.
And they're really cool.
And
good flavor text.
Yeah, so there's 3 different types of cards too. There are the events, which are red. That's basically you play them and you turn them over. You don't deal those cards until the end of the game.
You're shooting asteroids at the planet.
More or less. Or you have a large convoy coming in or something like that. It's usually something from space coming down. Or Raider. With the corporate era card, they added
sabotage.
Sabotage, raiders, and stuff like that. Hackers. Not hackers, wasn't it? But that's green.
Power
hackers.
tapping.
Was that an event? Okay.
Yeah.
So the green cards are cards that you play, but they're a one-off, but they stay out, and then you get to use their tags because especially in the corporate era, a lot of cards had prerequisites of like, oh, you need 7 fucking science tags out in order to play this card.
There's a lot of cool theme to like the Jovian ones.
Yes.
Where you couldn't play this Jovian card unless you had another one because you had to build the infrastructure to be able to use the other one.
Yep.
And then blue cards.
Blue cards are like green where you play them and then they're on the board and you get to use their tags, but they usually have an action or an effect associated with them.
Yeah.
Actions are you just spend an action to let you do something. Effect is like there's one. Whenever a city is built, you get 2 money. 2 mega credits.
Mega credits.
So
the interesting thing is you can take 1 or 2 actions.
yes.
So if you want to kind of delay to see what other people do, you can just take 1. Or if you have 2 things you want to do real quick, you can do 2.
Yeah, like if you're trying to get ahead of somebody for like claiming one of the awards, and you want to do 2 actions real quick, so that second one you can claim the award before somebody else. You can do that, or like you were alluding to there, the stalling is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just to see what someone else is going to do before you make a move. It's like, are they going to blow all their money so I can totally screw them over? Because there is some competitive to it, but it's not over competitive.
A decent amount of the events to have take that where it's like the asteroids usually destroy anybody's plan, so you can choose.
Yeah.
You just decided to direct it towards their plant horde.
Yes.
Oops, I miscalculated and that went into your farm. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yeah. And then like we said, there's hackers that can steal people's money production.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of animal cards that you build up on, and then there are some cards that let you eat those animals.
Not my pets, sir. Thank you very much.
Pets, the space pets.
Yep.
Yeah. Gameplay wise, mechanics wise, any of that. Do you guys have any real negatives besides the components for the player boards? Like that's my biggest negative. Is the player boards are a little fiddly. But otherwise, I can't think of really any major complaints of this game. I like it a lot. This is one I'm going to play for a long time.
No, I definitely agree with that.
Absolutely.
Initially, after the first game, I did not think it lived up to the hype. Even after the second game, I was like, it's a good game, but I don't know if it lives up to the hype. After 4 games, I'm starting to think it kind of lives up to the hype.
So
It's getting pretty highly rated. It's in the top 75 strategy on Board Game Geek right now.
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely. I can easily see it go into the top 100, probably top 50 too.
Overall, or
Yeah,
just in
overall.
strategy? Okay.
I wouldn't doubt it either.
Yeah.
It's up there for me. It's
Yeah.
probably going to be, spoiler alert for some future date. I'm sure this will be on my top 10 for the year.
Oh, I'm sure this will be on for me too.
So
Yeah.
There's still so many days left in the year, though.
I know, and there's still a few more games that are coming out. There's room on that top 10.
We'll find out soon.
That we will.
Yeah.
But no, highly recommend this game. I definitely think you should get it if you are into kind of strategic tile placement, area control type
Right.
games.
Yeah, like the very first game we played, you were super far behind and didn't really realize how that game end scoring worked.
Yeah, game and scoring can be huge.
Absolutely.
So it's you truly won't know who wins, more or less, or you'll have an idea.
I don't think in any of the 4 games I've played, the person who was leading going into final scoring, I've never seen them win.
For the rating, yeah, I had a pretty good. I was like, either you or Megan are going to win. So, but yeah, it doesn't have a runaway leader problem, so to speak.
No.
The milestones and awards really play into it.
They do.
Because you can be, they're a race to claim them. The milestones are like whoever claims it gets it. It's 5 points.
And no one else can get it.
And no one else can get it. The awards are sort of just a first place, second place, but you can only have 3 of the 5 out there. So it's whoever sort of gets it first gets to see what categories you score at the end.
And,
which is
and just
interesting.
because you activate it doesn't mean you'll win it.
Right.
It just means
Someone could pass you up.
Exactly. So that may be you're like, I want to save it till the end of the game, but then if someone starts doing it, because the price of activating those is more on the, whereas milestones, all 3 of them are 8 each.
Mm-hmm.
This one is 8 and then 14 and then 20.
Yeah.
So you're like, I have a pretty good idea. I want to get the banker, which is the most money production, and you're like, I should probably do that one sooner rather than later because that's just going to call me 6 more money to do. So.
Which I've noticed overall that it seems the milestones, they pretty much get taken. They get snapped up like right away.
Oh, yeah.
Once people realize they can claim one, they get claimed. Whereas the awards definitely aren't until a little bit later in the game when you've kind of established like who's running the money scheme, who's running the heat scheme.
Well, I would say milestones, you will achieve the milestones in the first third to the first half of the game. Because it's just building 3 cities or 3 greenery tiles, which relatively are not that hard to do in that game.
I don't think anyone is ever going to get 16 cards in their hand for that one.
It would be basically someone starting with a beginner corporation and then just buying. It'd take them 2 rounds to do it, of just not spending any of their cards. And then, so yeah.
Well, or if they got some of the cards like the one I had where for 1 action you just draw 2 free cards.
Such a bullshit card.
You get a couple cards like that and you can...
Well, yes, yes. I'm just saying that the earliest someone could do that if they didn't get that card is... Then I would figure anyone playing in the corporate era would probably not be doing the beginner corporation.
No, probably not. All right, so final thoughts. We all like it?
Yes.
Yes,
I think it's fantastic.
And
I wish
so
I wish it played a little shorter
yeah.
than it does.
I feel like with repeat plays with like similar people, it'll really get that way. You'll get better at identifying cards that are good and bad, and
I'd like to get it to that 2-hour mark.
yeah, that'd be real nice.
Not the
That's
3.5 hour mark.
Drafting and corporate era are not going to get you there.
Yeah.
I think with the repeat plays though, it could.
I don't
It
know.
barely took over 3 hours with all 3 of us playing Corp Era for the first time ever. We can get that.
That was 3 hours and 30 minutes.
Barely. It wasn't 3 hours. It was less than 3 hours and 30 minutes. We didn't start playing until
That's still
6,
an hour.
and we were done before 9:30. It was less than 3.5 hours.
Fine, then 3 hours and that's still an hour and 20 minutes. You have to. All I'm saying, I'm just saying that the game, the designer himself said both of those add to the time of the game. So the 90 to 120 minutes did not include those 2 variants because they are variants.
And I think drafting is a mandatory variant.
Drafting for sure.
Drafting is a mandatory, yes.
And I'll be hesitant to ever play again without Corp Era cards. I enjoyed it far, far more with Corp Era cards.
I will have to play again to see, because my experience with them wasn't the greatest, partially because of that, but for me, it felt that we were doing more work and we still ended up in the same place. And so...
But was it more fun during the journey?
See, and that's where I felt like I got to do more in roughly the same amount of time.
So here's a sort of good explanation. All right, so say going from 0 to 10. So say drafting but not with the corporate era ones. We started at 2, and then we end up at an 8 in terms of progression. This one, we started out at 0, because corporate era, you don't get any production. It's all about what you do. I felt like we still ended at 8. I feel that I would have at least liked, because we have to do more in the beginning, I would have liked it to felt like I had done more at the end. That's all it is.
We got to the 8 in 9 turns in the other game, and it ended at an 8 in 12 turns in the corporate era.
Exactly, and I think that first 3 turns, so to speak, are just us getting back to the production of doing the non-corporate era.
I felt like my playthrough was much more unique. Like, I felt like I had a better engine that was crafted around like what I had of it. Like, it wasn't because I had longer to build and I started from nothing. I ended up building in one direction. I felt like I had more of a unique setup to me. Like, I felt like all 4 of us were playing very different variants, whereas like in some of the other ones, like a lot of people were doing similar things.
I didn't feel that.
I don't know. I felt like I got to do more. I felt like I had better control over what I was doing. I liked it in every single way.
Once again, like I said, I have to play it. Originally, I was a lot more firm, and then I was reading online, and it's like nobody really
shared that opinion.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm just like.
It's clearly you're wrong.
Well, no, I think
no, it's more of I definitely it might have been stemmed by the corp I was playing.
I think that is exactly. I think you nailed it in our discussion we were having texting earlier today, where for most of those middle rounds, you were doing maybe 4 actions and then passing, like so 2 turns, and then you were passing, where the rest of us were taking 3, 4, 5 turns. So you had so much more downtime to sit there and be like, God, this is taking forever.
Yeah.
Whereas me, I was always like, what am I going to do next?
No, and I understand that, but
it might just be too specialized of a corporation.
Yes, and it's a lot easier to hate draft and all that stuff. But all I'm saying is that that's all I have to go off of. So that is what my experience is based off of. That's why I would like to give it another chance. But as of right now, I liked it without the corporate era because I felt I ended in the same spot.
Yeah. I think we're starting to talk into circles. I'm pretty sure we've discussed this at the beginning and now at the end.
Well, not with my number graph thing.
So final thoughts though. Overall, the game.
And as much as Zach says he hates the game utterly, we all want to play it again.
No, I definitely, right now, I wouldn't be surprised if this was my number 1 for the year. So
it's super fun. I really, really, really like it. When we were playing it, I was drinking, and I fell in love with this game.
Oh yeah, yep.
I took it home with me.
Mm-hmm. I definitely, as soon as it becomes available again for a reasonable price, because right now it's a little bit hard to find.
Unreasonable price right now.
But as soon as it drops back down, I'm going to snatch up a copy.
The MSRP, not great.
The MSRP is a bit high.
So it's $70 MSRP.
But then Cool Stuff has it for $45, so it's like, I don't know.
$70, the game's a little disappointing component-wise.
Yeah.
Price point. But if you can find a good deal on it when it comes back into a good print on some of those discount websites, it's totally worth the price.
Well, what did you get this copy for on Amazon?
Like $61.
I'd spend $60.
Yes, I would say it's a reason. I would, obviously you'd want to spend $45 if you could.
Yeah,
but $60, I would definitely say that sounds good. Yeah, $70, you're like, oh, that's a little high.
Yeah. How much was Mechs vs. Minions?
$75.
Yeah,
but all right, yeah. So I'm definitely going to be picking it up as soon as it's back in stock.
I will probably as well.
So we all want to own Terraforming Mars. We recommend you do the same.
Yep. Jacob F. Great game.
Yes.
Stephen Bonacore, good job picking it up.
Yeah, you keep doing what you do over there.
Keep on keeping on.
Keep on. You do you.
Yeah. So. All right. Well, that wraps that up. So let's move on here before this episode gets just way too long. And let's spend a little bit of time talking about our discussion of the day, Kickstarter games. We talked about Kickstarter games and Kickstarter as a whole a little bit in one of our earlier episodes. Real briefly, like on the heels of me discussing finally getting all of my Black Plague stuff or something like that. But we recently had an email from one of our listeners, Chris B., and he requested that we cover this a little bit more in detail. He really wanted to hear a little bit more of our thoughts on things like Kickstarter exclusives, how Kickstarter is affecting the industry, and things like that. So we decided to make this one of our big overall discussion topics. So I guess to start off, we all use Kickstarter here, right? Jeff,
yes.
Do you do it as often? I know Zach and I both Kickstarter a lot of things.
Not a ton. I mean, I used to could.
Used to could.
Used to could more. I have quite a few Kickstarter games in general, but I've not really hunted. They're usually like the huge ones that you like can't help but hear about.
Right.
Yeah, I have 19 backed right now, or I've backed 19 different Kickstarter games right now.
I guess that's totally a thing I could have had pulled up prior to this discussion. It's nowhere near that for me. I'm at like 6 or 7, including 3 that I'm waiting for right now. I've used Kickstarter for a couple non-board game related things early, but it's transitioned to where I pretty much only use it for board game games.
I don't. I've heard too many bad things about video game ones, and those especially. I feel if it's a good game, I'll just get it when it comes out.
Yeah, I've backed 2 video game ones. One delivered, which was fantastic, Pillars of Eternity from Obsidian. It's great, and then it led to a board game that they put out. So real happy with that. But then I had another one where it was definitely the dev just pieced out. Nobody's heard from him in over a year, and nobody got anything ever. So very, very leery of non-board and even board game ones.
Have you had any board game ones? Because I know there have been some. I have
not.
Okay, have you, Jeff, at all?
Most of the ones that I have backed have just been unsuccessful.
Okay.
See, I haven't even really had that issue. Most of the ones I've backed have either already succeeded by the time I got to them, or they were ones that were well on their way, and so I wasn't ever concerned. I don't think I've really had anything that didn't succeed.
Yeah, I have there have been a couple that I'll say that I have also canceled probably 30 different ones. I've been like, oh, that's good, and then you know what, I can't afford it, or it doesn't look that great or anything like that. Or there's just, I'd rather have this game. And so I've canceled those, and a couple of those ended up being unsuccessful, but any of the ones I've actually backed made easily over 200% of their goal.
Yeah.
So
I have about 24 backed Kickstarter board games.
Okay. Yeah, so you have even more than me, actually.
Yeah.
Nice.
A lot of video games out in the early days.
Okay.
Before it got too risky.
So overall, obviously we use Kickstarter, so we don't have that big of a problem with it.
No.
Yes, to kind of steer this into some semblance of a discussion format here. Overall, when you guys back Kickstarters at this point, are you backing more from indie developers and creators who are trying to get their first game out, or do you feel most of your backs tend to be from established companies and developers and creators that now use Kickstarter as a part of their business model?
I would say that mine tend to veer more towards established publishers, but for me, there are a lot of established publisher ones that I haven't backed, and it's because if I like the art, if it looks good to me, I tend to view them on the same level of, do I think it's a good value? Do I look like I'm overpaying for it? Am I getting anything special for it? Because there have been games where I look at it and I'm like, this looks like a good enough game, and it's already been at it over 100% funded. So if I don't get anything special for backing it, for being a backer, then I'll usually just wait until it actually comes out.
Okay. What about you, Jeff?
Mine was much more indie at the beginning. A bunch of little stuff like Machine of Death, Story War, but also in there was Zombicide Season 2 with a hefty $280 pledge on that one.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
I got everything. And then when they did like the Coup reprint, which has become huge.
Yeah, because it was originally an earlier game.
Right.
So.
And then I get to much more established, like crazy huge top things that are still like the most funded things on Kickstarter of all time. Well, I think Exploding Kittens.
Yes, that was. Well, I didn't back that one, but yeah,
I didn't back that either.
I did.
Shame.
Exploding Kittens, Scythe.
It has its place.
Secret Hitler, Tiny Epic Galaxies.
Yeah.
Real safe stuff.
There are a lot, like Gameland Games, the people that do all the Tiny Epic games. Anytime they do one, I hit back and then I look at it and go, do I actually want this or not? But my first thing is I want to crank up that number, and then near the end, if I'm like, okay, I might pass on this one, but the
By
past
then
ones,
they're at,
Exactly.
2,200% backed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I will tend to always go for theirs.
Okay. So for myself, I still do a pretty solid mix. The main publisher who uses Kickstarter as their business model that regularly I going for is Cool Mini or Not
Yes.
Games. I started with Zombicide Season 3, I believe. I don't think I got in on Season 2.
I didn't do 1, but I did 2.
I thought you
and
did
3.
2.
I might have
think?
done 2.
Yeah, I think you
Maybe-
did 2. I think you bought the base game for Zombicide because you have that.
Yes.
And then I think you got in on I think you were a late backer.
Yeah, that's right. I late backed Season 2, and
Yeah.
I backed Season 3 and Black Plague.
Yeah.
And then I'm currently hemming and hawing over whether I will have enough money to get in on
Massive
Darkness. I don't think I have enough to get in on it, enough to make it worth getting in on at all.
I agree with that, mainly because, one, someone we know has it.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with it.
But the most recent Kickstarter that actually completed for me was an indie developer, board game creator. It was a guy, Grant, who was also one of the designers on Cry Havoc. His little game, Druids,
Yeah.
which is a fantastic little looking abstract game, entirely wooden components, and should be here hopefully before Christmas.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
Nice.
so I try to stick to helping the indie, with the few exceptions of like Cool Mini or Not, which I'm really shying away from. We'll get to that in just a second.
That's fine.
But I do try to use it to help things that otherwise wouldn't fund. Or in occasion, like one of the other ones I have is Soul. It's one that they don't think they'll ever retail. So if you didn't get it in the Kickstarter,
Yeah.
you can't get it.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing that I'm kind of look for when I back games. Is something, again, like you were talking a little bit there, Zach, something to give you a reason to back it if it's already going to finish. Like either getting good exclusives or it's going to be limited or you're getting a significant deal over retail. You know, what you think you could get it on Amazon later kind of a thing.
Yeah. So, like, one of my biggest games for that was Manhattan Project Energy Empire. I'm a huge fan of the Manhattan Project. When they released that, it's supposed to be a spiritual successor to it, and it takes place in the 70s and 80s. It looks really cool, but basically, if you backed the Kickstarter, it was going to be at full MSRP, and it was going to be you got like one extra card or something like that. So I was just like, I don't really feel like spending $60 right now.
Yep.
So I'll just wait and get it when it comes out. So
Which, has it come out yet?
I don't know. It may be coming out soon.
Okay.
My wallet will not let me look at the games for a while.
That'll happen. Notable Kickstarters?
You mean like overall?
Yeah.
I mean,
There's been a lot. Cool Mini or Not Zombicides have
Yeah.
made lots of money. Kingdom Death.
King of That Monster made money. Conan made a lot of money. Like we said, Exploding Kittens made the most money with 7 point something million.
A crazy amount of money.
Yeah,
Ridiculous
The
for-
Joking Hazard made 3.2 million, I think.
Secret Hitler, I think, was right behind it.
Yeah.
The highest rated one or the highest funded one that was a surprise to me was Dark Souls 3, the board game.
Oh yeah. I saw a lot of people were interested in that one. So
I have seen nothing about that game, mostly because I don't care about Dark Souls.
yeah, I'm in the same boat. So
But a lot of people sure do.
Yeah. and
Because
true.
holy
Gorgon,
crap,
that's
that made
about
a
it.
lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, it's so if people don't know, if your game has a lot of miniatures in it, it's tend to make more money.
Yeah, seriously.
Reaper
But
Bones.
the base
Yes.
price is way higher.
Well, yeah.
Kingdom Death Monster made a lot of money, but the base pledge is ridiculous.
like
Yeah,
$500.
But it's not just that. It's if you have add-ons with more minis,
Yeah.
people tend to buy a lot of those because I know people that have bought Zombicide or specifically Massive Darkness. They don't even give a shit about the game. They're like, "Ooh, I can have all these minis for like D&D or Pathfinder or something like that, or just any sort of miniatures game that they would want to use those for."
It's still so much money.
No, it is. Oh, yeah, it definitely is.
The Reaper Bones is just purely like, here's just a ton of miniatures.
Yes.
No games, no nothing.
And
more
that also makes millions of dollars as
The more
well.
people that back it, the more miniatures you get,
Yeah,
which is insane.
it is.
Ant is still waiting on his.
It's supposed to be here relatively soon, though.
Yeah.
Probably,
which
yeah.
will be nice because it is a ton of minis, and that's a little bit different. It's one that's entirely different. I think
Scythe
than
was-
what we're talking about.
Scythe was certainly a better game because it was Kickstarter.
Yes.
One of my more favorite Kickstarters that I don't think this would have existed without it is Ogre from Steve Jackson.
Like the designer's
yeah.
edition, the what, like the giant ass box
Yeah.
one. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that could have ever existed without
No,
Kickstarter.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I almost backed that one, but backed off at the end of it. It was like $120
Yeah.
at that point.
I know someone about that.
It's a cool looking game.
It is.
So much Zombicide, though.
Yep.
I originally got a Kickstarter edition of the first Zombicide because my friend had backed it and then didn't like the game. And he was just like, here you go.
Really?
Yeah, so all those like crazy promos that Adrian has because he loves Zombicide with all of his heart are
And
from
his
my
soul,
friends
yeah.
that I got for free that I will
Nice.
not give to Adrian.
God damn it! You even got them for free. Pass them on.
Yeah. I know for me, the biggest, like, a lot of my games tend to be the cheaper games just because it's a lot easier to be like, oh, that looks cool. Here's 20. That's why the Tiny Epic games are great for that.
Absolutely.
Oh, $30, the deluxe, that's fine.
That's where I'm rapidly starting to shift from to is towards those cheaper games
Yeah.
that also tend to get delivered a little bit quicker
Yeah.
or can.
They can mainly because they have less stuff
Yeah.
that can go wrong, usually.
Star Realms was originally a Kickstarter.
Yes, it was.
I'm about to get Hero Realms in the next month or so.
Nice.
And that just ended a month or so ago. 2
Yeah.
months.
2 months, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said we kind of get to it later. So I feel like this is probably
Go
a
for
very
it.
good point to move on to this. I did look it up there. I did not back season 2 for Zombicide.
Okay.
I started with season 3, and then I did Black Plague, and then was now thinking about doing Massive Darkness. However, in just that span of time, those 3 or so Kickstarters from Cool Mini, and they've done a bunch of other ones in between.
Yes.
I'm rapidly losing interest in backing their games for the simple reason of they've seen more and more to add in more things that are either A, Kickstarter exclusive, or B, even worse, they've been adding more and more optional buys to where, like, right now, I was just looking at my pledge manager for Massive Darkness today, and if I got everything they offered, it'd be like $380.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And I can't. There's no way I'm going to spend that for. We were just talking about how we thought Terraforming Mars is overpriced at $70. Granted, there's a huge difference in component quality from Massive Darkness
Yes.
to Terraforming Mars, but not $380. Like it's way too much.
It is a lot, yes.
And so, but the other games that I've passed on theirs, like Blood Rage, I really like Blood Rage, but I'm never going to buy it now because I can't get everything because I missed out on Kickstarter exclusive stuff. So having played the Kickstarter version, I'm never going to feel like I have a complete game now. So I'm never buying that.
It's got a sweet sea monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that is not Kickstarter exclusive.
Which one is?
It is the Wolfman, Fenrir, one of the giants, and then one of the trolls.
That's a lot of really important, cool miniatures.
I mean,
Exactly.
Okay.
Also, was it Greg that had a painted version?
Yes, he had a painted version.
Yeah, that looks awesome painted.
Yeah.
But no, and it's the same thing, if I hadn't Black Plague, a lot of the big abominations were Kickstarter exclusives.
Yeah.
And, yes, the game plays without them, but the game is undeniably better with more cool monsters, or in the case of Blood Rage, having more options for heroic things to bring in, like Fenrir is awesome.
It's definitely that. The Fenrir and Wolfman, they both add very interesting mechanisms to the game. Yeah.
So now any version of the game that doesn't have those feels like an incomplete version of the game.
I wonder if you'll ever be able to buy them.
I mean, obviously, you can buy them on eBay and stuff.
Yeah, you can buy them on the
Clearly,
secondary market.
for $80 each.
Yes. So,
Like the other Seven Sins is probably the same way.
so for that one, there's only one of my team boxes, and then 2 people were Kickstarter exclusive. Well, okay, no, technically the Men of Faith, and then the Sons of Anarchy, the Sons of Ragnarok. Those packs were Kickstarter exclusive, but like the 5 extra sins that I got, those were expansions that they just gave to us for free.
That's a pretty good deal.
It was, we got about $400 worth of stuff for, I paid like $140, I think.
Which is where it screws me. It's like right now, like I can't afford to get everything I want with Massive Darkness. So I'm probably, if I can't get everything I want, I'm probably not going to get it, which means I will never get it.
Okay.
In Kickstarter's past, all of those crazy add-on boxes would have just been Kickstarter exclusive add-ons.
Sorry, say that again?
So like all the the Ratlings and the Naga water people boxes, they're like the $40 add-on,
Oh, yes.
the $50 add-on. in Kickstarters, a couple of years ago, those may have been just with the base thing as like a stretch goal Kickstarter exclusive thing.
That game definitely had it had a lot of stretch goals that come with the game now.
Yeah.
But it's just, I would say that it seems that they're just decided to not only have all those things, but they have optional buys too,
which they use as a stretch goal. Like, oh, we've reached this stretch goal, so here's an optional buy for you to spend more money.
They haven't done that. They
did that all over Massive Darkness. So a bunch of their stretch goals unlocked additional buys.
It was a disappointing Kickstarter from what I had read.
And realistically, going back, looking at Massive Darkness or Black Plague, and even Season 3 of Zombicide compared to Season 1 and 2 were the same way. You're spending more and more money, and they're getting to where they're asking. Now it's getting to be almost $150 base pledge, whereas before it was like $100 with a bunch of Kickstarter stuff that was just all included in that pledge.
Here's $10 for a guy.
Yeah, Cool Mini or Not is definitely moving in a direction that I don't agree with. I don't like it.
Do they really need Kickstarter?
And that's where I'm starting to have a problem with it too. Is there's no reason for there's no reason for them to have a Kickstarter exclusive. They might as well just sell all of their things. People are going to buy them. Yeah. So if you're much about making money that you're going to have all these additional buys to where to get everything is going to cost you $400, then throw an additional $50, $60 worth of optional buys to get the exclusives later.
Yeah.
At retail. But
Cardboard Tube Samurai.
Yeah, and
that was Season 1 Zombicide Kickstarter exclusive that goes for like $60 by himself now.
Yeah. So
Penny Arcade guy.
So obviously they did announce optional buys, but it wasn't you've now reached 3 million. Now you have the chance to buy this. It was during their campaign, they would throw in additional optional buys in order to get people to buy more.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, it still sure felt like, we're just under 300,000 or whatever. We're just under this. Well, here's something else you guys can all buy to push us up another notch. It felt like they
have all of that stuff planned before it even starts. Yeah. It's just they'll announce
they have it calculated to maximize the money and everything. And yeah, sure, it works great for them. Yeah. They're losing me as a customer.
That's fine.
And other people are getting fed up with that stuff too.
The money's still there for them, though.
Yeah. So far, hopefully it doesn't dry up.
It's turning into a pre-order service.
It is.
Which is what it disappoints me. This is where getting to the negative side of Kickstarter.
And that's why I've moved into more of the smaller stuff. Like, Tiny Epic Galaxies, they could probably also still print that.
Oh, they absolutely could have.
But they don't. But there's just tons of free, awesome stuff you get with it, and there's not really any additional like their other steps were just like, how many more copies of the game do you want?
Well, it's the base and then the deluxe, which usually throws in a little. Yeah, that's like $6 more.
Yeah, and that's fine. But when you have a base pledge of 150, and then to get everything is going to cost you almost 400. And
that hurts the wallet.
And it does heaven forbid that it happens in a brief window where you can't afford it, because then you just don't ever have a chance of getting all that stuff again, and you're just screwed.
Well, I think that's one reason why they have added a lot. They've added late pledging for that, and it seems
like you can just pledge whenever you want now.
More or less, yes. It's like pretty much when they start to like 9 months down the line, usually you have a much wider open window now than you did before.
And it seems like, why even Kickstarter, except for the attention, I guess?
And it works for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all a hype thing. Yeah, it builds hype, and they've got a great marketing team.
Here's 30 days that you can buy this thing, but also this next 90 days that you can also buy this thing.
At this point, why not just launch their own little, on their own website, have their own little pledge manager on their website, and not have to send Kickstarter's cut?
I think people are trying that, but it's probably not as successful.
No.
I know there is a video game.
But I would, if they did that, they'd still do what they're doing now. So I don't see what the difference is.
Well, for their end, it's make more money, which is apparently what they care about. They don't care about delivering a good product at a reasonable.
Any Kickstarter that I back, whatever their time frame is, I will give it at least 6 months, and especially if it's wildly successful, then I will give it 9 months to a year. Every Kickstarter that I've bought, I buy it and then I just don't think about it until it arrives.
Which that's easy to do when it's a $20 game. When you drop $400 on a game and you're giving them essentially a $400 interest-free loan, and then you don't get a game for over a year, that sucks. That really sucks.
then don't.
And
do it.
again, I'm not.
No, I
this is
know.
where I'm moving away from
I
this
know.
stuff. This is why I'm moving away from it, because I think it's horseshit.
That's fine. That's fine for you. They're still going to do it, and if it's a good value, then I will still do it. Board games is completely a luxury market. None of this stuff matters, so I don't think they owe us anything. That's why I don't see any Kickstarter. People can use Kickstarter for whatever they want. If you don't agree with it, then don't do it. Obviously, I just don't think, Cool Mini or Not, they shouldn't do it because they're big. So what? That's my opinion.
I mean, so it's you're right. They can do whatever the hell they want. They won't get my money.
That's fine.
They're increasingly getting to the point where Cool Mini or Not, cool. I used to get excited for every Cool Mini or Not thing I saw.
When season 2 hit, I was like, "Fuck yes!"
Yeah, and now it's increasingly I get excited when it first launches, and then as the project goes on and on and on, it gets to be more well, fuck, I can't afford this, so
and I wonder if
I don't even care.
I didn't look at the actual number of backers on Zombicide. Season 1, season 2, season 3 versus Massive Darkness versus. Is it the price that's going up that's giving them more money, or is there more and more
it's
backers?
Definitely, it's both. There's definitely more backers. Black Plague, was it season? So what was Black Plague? Was that $150 for the Knights Pledge or whatever?
Yeah.
So that one, the reason why that's the most is because that number was at 150, and then additional ones on top of that.
Because some of the base, was Zombicide $70 for an original backing?
I think so. Yeah.
Just I'll have it up here.
So Massive Darkness had 22,000 backers and 22,361 for 3.56 million.
Ugh.
How many backers?
22,361.
22,000. Yeah, they had 5,000 backers for Zombicide.
Yeah.
Wow.
They raised 781,000. And the base pledge was the cheapest you could get. Wow. So back then you could pledge $25 and get one promo survivor. But $75 was the base set to get you a copy of Zombicide.
Okay.
Compared to Black Plague, which with Black Plague, they ended up with 20,000 backers, raising $4 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the base pledge, the cheapest you could get anything was $100.
Yeah, but a lot of people did the $150 one because it added the extra expansion. Whereas Massive Darkness, its bottom was $120, and then it was all additional optional buys from there. So even though Massive Darkness had more backers, it did not make as much as Zombicide did. Also, because Zombicide is an existing IP.
Yeah.
Whereas this one was
All new.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All new hotness.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Well, it's certainly not going poorly for them.
No.
but
Exactly.
no, it really isn't. Season 3 was 12,000 backers, so they've consistently went up and up and up in backers. So
I wonder if they'll hit a
wall.
tipping
I mean,
point.
I gotta think they will. Well, I mean, at some point they will because there's a finite number of people. There's a finite number of backers they can get.
Make more babies to buy more Zombicide.
So with these big name these big name campaigns, do you think they're taking money away from lower
No,
campaigns? Okay, good.
no, because
Jeff?
Probably
Oh,
not.
sorry.
I doubt it.
Okay. Yeah.
no, because for one, people like myself, like Zombicide are really where I got super into using Kickstarter, and now I use it for smaller stuff.
Yeah.
So
A good comparison are like the big summer blockbuster movies stealing money from other movies released in other times of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, if you release the same day as fucking The Avengers, don't
Yeah.
expect to do much money.
Yeah, but if it's a period drama, a lot of people that are going to go see the blockbuster one
Probably not going to
see that one.
Yeah.
yeah, so the only way that a big Kickstarter would take away from me doing a smaller one would be if they were going on at roughly the same time, and I only I decide for some reason to throw $400 at Massive Darkness. That's going to severely limit what else I can back. Because my wallet is very finite.
With their how they do their pledge manager stuff is it's $150 at the beginning, and then a couple months down the road, then you can add additional stuff. So that's one way.
Well, that would have been nice if I'd had the $100 and some back then, because then I could have only thrown another 100 at it now, and it wouldn't have felt as bad.
Well,
but now I was able to back $1 back in the main launcher.
No, I did the same thing, and I was just like, I don't think for me to pay this much money, I don't think it's worth for it right now. There's other games I'd rather play, and so I didn't back it,
No,
I didn't anything out of the dollar.
Yeah. And I'm increasingly, I mean, I used to get Zombicide to the table all the time. I almost never get Zombicide to the table anymore.
That's why I didn't do season 3.
Yeah.
Or Black Plague.
I want to say just because we've gotten so many more games.
But no, because that is a big part of it. And I've gotten other games like Le Havre to the table. And now, if I'm going to spend 3 hours playing a game, I'd almost rather play Le Havre than play Zombicide. You know, like Zombicide got 1, awfully repetitive. And for 2, I had just too many games where, I mean, a lot of it's dice chucking. That loses its appeal real quick, I think.
You think, yeah?
Right, for me, it loses its appeal real quick.
Yeah, for you, yeah.
So I still occasionally want to get Zombicide out. Like, I still want to play it. I'm not going to get rid of my Zombicides.
Yeah.
Although maybe I could just sell all my Zombicide to fund Massive Darkness.
I know, right? I've thought about selling my HeroScape stuff just because I'm like, I'm not going to play that in a while, and I could probably get 500 to 600 easy for it.
You could sell some of my promos for probably the cost of Massive Darkness.
There you go.
Well, yeah, so there you go. Sell enough stuff that you can afford 2 full pledges of Massive Darkness. Keep one, sell the other on the secondary market for even more. Just turn that into your business, reselling cool mini or not projects.
They're making enough money and have cool enough stuff to where that could probably happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a lot of Zombicide dice.
Not sure you do, yeah.
Me too. So I don't know. I'm torn. I mean, obviously, I wish I had the money for Massive Darkness. I wish it was in a more affordable range. It's probably not, and that's part of it. You know, I get upset. Same thing with Blood Rage. Blood Rage is a fantastic game. I would love to get my hands on it. Eric Lang made a great game, and I'm not ever going to get to own it because of the way they run their Kickstarters.
There's always a risk of just getting a Kickstarter game.
I mean, I'll say out of all of their games, Blood Rage is probably your best bet to get a more complete game. Because the only thing you'd be missing out was those five monsters.
Yeah.
You can buy the gods.
But I know they're missing. I've played with them. I know they're missing. I will feel like especially like you said, like Fenrir and the Wolfman add really interesting.
They add interesting ones, but I don't think they're mandatory, especially because a lot of games you won't even play them. So if there was something you played every single time,
all I know is Rising Sun had better be something reasonable.
Kickstarter.
Well, yeah, I know it's going to be.
I thought you were going to say retail. I thought you said
reasonable.
And I was like retail. Okay,
reasonable.
Is that not out? Did it not start?
Not yet. No, okay. I don't think
it's
early
even
next
finished.
year.
Like Gen Con was when they first
they showed pictures, or they showed some of the minis on it.
Yeah,
it's like, oh,
and I've seen a few of his tweets talking about like things are going well on it, or like I've hit this stage where it's scrap everything and start again. And, you know, normal creator issues.
Yeah, I just don't hunt through Kickstarters as much as I used to.
I
just wait for it to pop up on our board games.
There you go. Yeah,
and then I was like, that's one I should probably do.
Yeah, but I hate missing Kickstarters too. I find out about a lot of Kickstarters late.
I tend to look at Kickstarter at least 15, 20 times a day.
I'm getting better about doing it. The worst thing is, you have a nice job where you sit at a computer. Yeah. Like, if I'm at all busy at work, I can't look at my phone.
I try, and any ones that I find interesting, I like, hey,
you do
guys.
pass them on.
Yeah, so.
But I mean, I'm not going to stop using Kickstarter for sure. Like, I think Kickstarter itself is a fantastic service, and I think it's done a lot for the board game industry. I think that there are some companies I don't agree with how they're using Kickstarter. I'm not going to go so far as to say they shouldn't use Kickstarter.
Okay, good.
I do think Cool Mini, some of those other ones, they don't need Kickstarter, but I don't fault them for using what works. And
it's just not working for you anymore.
Back when they did season 1 for Zombicide, Cool Mini or Not was not a company that could have ran that on their own.
Well, it also doesn't help because Kickstarter works so well. They didn't do Kickstarter. They could probably do 1 to 2 games a year. But because of Kickstarter, they're able to do 5 games a year. And so them using Kickstarter means that they can basically fund their games and get more of those out.
And really, aside from their really huge ultimate big mini games.
Yes.
Cool Mini or Not also puts out a lot of the cool stuff. The Grizzled is fantastic.
They've started doing more retail specific ones. So yeah.
And so I don't want to come across like I'm totally shitting all over Cool Mini or Not. I've given them a lot of money.
Yes.
And really I am pretty happy with the quality of everything I've gotten. Even if I never play Zombicide again, I have a shit ton of zombie minis for, like you said, D&D or any other thing that I need minis. I've been tempted to take my minis from Zombicide that I don't play anymore and throw them into Dead of Winter instead of standees.
Yeah, I can see that. Then it'd look weird to have minis with standees people. Then you need minis for those. And that's more money, and it's just.
I'm sure someone has actually made
cycle.
those.
Yeah,
probably
I'm sure they
for
have.
some nuts amount of money.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think that pretty much sums up my general feelings on the matter.
For me, I would say if you don't like what people are doing on Kickstarter, vote with your wallet. Don't buy them.
Yes.
And just this is one of the few things where just let the free market deal with it.
The only problem with that, though, is, you know, if you're somebody who maybe has even more of a limited income than I do, like I've got a pretty solid expendable income. I throw around a lot of money on shit I don't need.
Skiing, snowboarding, football,
board games. I don't spend a lot of money on football. Beer. I spend way more than I should on beer. Anyway, if you're somebody who is on more of a budget and wants to get in on some of these games, you know, and you want to be a part of some of these cool games, when companies like Cool Mini or not do their Zombicides and their Massive Darknesses the way they do, and they keep ramping that price up, it raises the barrier to entry. And that's where I start to have a problem with it. And that's where, like, voting with your wallet does a little bit, but obviously not much. They're increasing thousands of backers every time, and they're leaving other people behind.
For me, it's the same way that there are people that are like, oh, this legacy game is stupid. Like legacy, mechanisms are stupid, and all these games. And there's this trend. There's 3 games that are legacy. They've released 10 games that are like, whatever. It might be more than 10 games.
Yeah, I think that's entirely.
Out of all, there's so many board games. It sucks that you can't get that one. Like I couldn't afford the Cthulhu Wars one, and I couldn't do it. Would I like to have it? Yes.
But I mean, like, they're kind of increasing
no, I understand,
bit
but
prices and having
other people aren't doing it.
Other
people aren't doing it. All I'm saying is there's more than it sucks.
It's working for them, and when things work like that and make somebody a lot of money, people tend to emulate it.
But there's a lot of games that aren't doing Kickstarters too. All I'm saying is that there's more
Terraforming Mars?
Yes,
not a Kickstarter.
There's so many games out there that it
Does
sucks.
Stronghold do any Kickstarters?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Hooray, Stephen Bonacore. All the more reason he is awesome.
Yeah. There's just so many games out there. It sucks that you couldn't get that, but that's life. You can't get everything you want.
Thank you,
Now
Zach.
you sound like my dad.
You're welcome.
This isn't fair. Life's not fair. Thanks, Dad. That's useful.
Like I said, this is a completely luxury hobby, and so it's, there's a lot of expensive cars I'd love to have, but I'll never own a Nissan GTR because I don't have a fucking $170,000. So
Okay.
It's a pretty low bar for car ownage.
no, I know.
We have crossed into the ridiculous now.
No, I know. I'm just saying that. Yeah.
Well, it is certainly something that people feel strongly about.
It is.
And I would love to hear from some of our listeners what you guys think about Kickstarter games, Kickstarter exclusives.
Feel free to call me an asshole.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Or, as I'm sure there's somebody out there who agrees with Zach. He can't be the only one with these kind of wrong ideas. So can't wait to hear from. I can't wait to hear what MHGG Hater has to say about this.
Sorry. He'll probably come with something about you said that he'll hit the last name for the Terraforming Mars guy. He'll just go straight into that.
But
I'm just glad I backed Scythe.
Yeah.
see, Scythe. Yeah, I'm okay with passing on Scythe. But all right. Anyway, that's what we think about that. We're moving on because we are rapidly starting to run long.
Way out of time.
Way out of time. So we had a board game giveaway.
We did.
And so we got enough entries where we are going to be able to actually pull out one of our dice from a D&D set here and toss a die and pick the winner that way. So you guys will actually get to hear us determine the winner.
So make sure not to tweet anything about the video until after this has been out is all I'm saying.
Yes. So we will wait to announce it until after the episode.
Because there was there was something where somebody like we recorded here and then they're like, yeah, this person won. It was 2 days before the episode came out and they're like, really?
Wait, some other podcast did that?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. 6. So this will be going to. God damn it!
What's wrong?
You've got to be kidding me. This is shit.
It's MHGG Hater, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Fuck. Of all the people, I didn't actually want to win this. I know you did because you want to find out who it is.
He's going to fucking nail you on that. Yeah, I just want to know who it is.
This is shenanigans.
Well, congratulations, Hater. You won.
We had actual people who don't hide behind hater names.
Anonymous. We're going to have to send this to a P.O. box somewhere.
Don't give him ideas.
Jeff. Damn, I'm cutting that out.
Yeah.
I'm cutting that out. I'm going to make him hand pick it up at game night.
Oh, okay.
So we have to look him in the face.
Or her. Don't be sexist.
Or her. I'm think any of our female friends are mean enough to be MHGG hater.
It'd be great if it was Megan. That would be amazing.
My fucking girlfriend. Didn't even think she listened to the show. She's just
It's all the long con.
Long con.
Yep.
Hey, I'd be almost fine with that because then I'd have a new copy of Codename Pictures. But all right, so
It's all rigged.
It's all, yeah.
So MHGG hater, we will be sending you an email to let you know that you won and figure out how to get you your game.
Congratulations, buddy.
You do have to reveal your true identity to us if you want this game.
I just hope
Not
he wears a
gonna let you-
mask.
Not going to let you remain anonymous.
I just want him to wear a mask when he picks it. Like, we clearly know who it is, but they still wear a mask.
Use a voice modulator.
Yes.
Hello.
So this concludes our first ever contest for
Yep. Hopefully we'll do another one sometime. I wouldn't say really soon, but
not too much longer.
Yeah.
We've got a couple ideas for next round of Kickstarter, of giveaways.
Oh, we're doing a
I've got
Kickstarter?
Kickstarter on the brain. We're going to kickstart the next episode of the show.
I think that's called Patreon.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a Kickstarter for people.
It is.
Some people have used Indiegogo, GoFundMe,
Yep.
things like that. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. So best ways to stay in contact with us. You can follow us on Twitter. We talk about our contests, giveaways, episodes, board games we're playing, things like that. That's on Twitter. We are at MHGameGuys. Jeff, you've got your own Twitter.
Jeff_MHGG.
You can send us emails at milehighgameguys.com. We all also have individual email addresses. Our names, Adrian, Zach, Jeff at milehighgameguys.com. We post pictures of board games occasionally on our Instagram at milehighgameguys.
Mostly been Terraforming Mars.
Yes, it
Mostly been
has.
Terraforming Mars. We also have a Facebook, facebook.com/milehighgameguys. And we've got Mile High Game Guys Guild on Board Game Geek.
I had to learn what that was.
Yeah, it's a thing
It's a thing, yes.
that we have.
Yep. Hopefully
So-
we're going to get some more pictures of Cry Havoc in Mechs versus Minions and Feast for Odin whenever you pick that up.
Whenever it finally goes on sale and I order it, yes.
We're just going to get 3 copies of Feast for Odin and put them all next to each other and take a picture of it.
I'm
Yes.
probably fine with you guys owning that.
Yeah.
So,
Right. So get in touch with us through our social media and stuff. And otherwise, as always, thanks for listening. We really appreciate it. And this
we
has
do.
been-
Even the haters.
Yes, even the haters.
Clearly.
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 God damn it. Anyway, this has been another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I'm Dr. Jeff.
And we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
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 Where are you going with that?
God, I need to sleep.
You just went on like a 10-minute rule explanation.
I don't know. Sorry. You can take that out. Oh,
Okay.
God.